Again, I want to welcome everyone to our live Saturday morning presentation. I am recording this, and that way, if for people who are having some audio problems, hopefully in the future you can figure that out. It's a matter of changing your settings on your computer. And I think for the most part, everyone on today's program can hear me. Can everyone also see the screen properly? You should see social media plan for nitric oxide therapy live webinars.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. So what we want to accomplish today is last Tuesday we launched officially the new nitric oxide therapy live webinars. And I'll ask a little bit later in today's presentation, there were some people that were on that live one, the first one. I'll ask you for your opinion, and please honestly share your opinion, because if there's things that you feel that we need to change or adapt, I want to certainly hear that. We'll come to that a little bit later in today's presentation. But today what I want to do is I want to help you understand a social media plan for promoting those live nitric oxide therapy webinars so that you can use them as a way to grow your customer base and effectively understand a strategy for sharing this information. So in today's presentation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover schedule, the Zoom invitation, recorded webinar, branding, social media plan of action, and then I have created a generic version of our nitric oxide therapy ebook that is now available to everyone in Synergy worldwide. Within our Synergy family, we take page 18 and we brand it to the individual with their picture and their contact information. And I don't want to get into the process of having to do that for everyone in Synergy worldwide. I don't have the time, and I'm not looking for the money to charge people for doing that. So I created a generic version of page 18, and that way everyone can use the nitric oxide therapy ebook on your own, and you can promote it down through your organization. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. Now, from a scheduling standpoint, I want you to understand that we're committed to running this live webinar through the end of 2017. And we're committed to this so that you know that your efforts to promote these live webinars are going to be supported. There's nothing worse than getting started doing something, and then because people don't like the way that they're getting a response to it, they take it away. That's not going to happen. We are committed to doing this on Tuesday nights, and the schedule is pretty simple. Going forward, every month, the live nitric oxide therapy webinar will be the second and the fourth Tuesdays of every month at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. That's how it's been set up in Zoom, and I've made all the appropriate adjustments to the calendar so that all the dates are there in Zoom, and we will run this through the end of this year so that you know that your efforts to promote this will be supported. Now, we created a Zoom invitation. Let me scroll down here just a little bit. And we're going to be using the Zoom platform from now on to host these live events. We have 100 seats that are available to us. This will be run as a webinar event. Today we're running this as an event. And before I go any farther, I've got open mics, so if you don't mind just muting yourself on whatever electronic device that you're using to come into this program, I don't want to have to do it manually because people might want to have questions. But if you can mute yourself so that we don't pick up your background noises, that would be great. Anyways, we're going to use the webinar platform for Zoom, which means that people will have to register for each event. And the registration URL is here. What you're looking at right now today is a PDF. I will post this PDF over the weekend into our Synergy Family Business Plan. I'll give you a link a little bit later in today's presentation where that's located. But you'll have this recorded video as well as you'll have this PDF to help you understand your social media plan for this event. Now, as we go down through this, here's what the actual webinar registration looks like. There's some branding messages. The first one that they'll see at the top is the Million Lives Project. We'll talk a bit about this when we get into branding yourself. The webinar topic is nitric oxide therapy. Our Synergy family is the presentation people who are doing the presentation. You can share this registration, webinar registration. You can share it on Facebook. You can share it on Twitter, LinkedIn, as well as you can email it to people. And then for the time, you'll see what will show up in the bar. You'll see the next opportunity for a person to register, which in this case is March the 14th, which is the second Tuesday of the month. However, let's say a person can't make that Tuesday, but they're very interested in attending one of these webinars. If you click on the drop-down menu, you will see a screen open up, and that will give you all the scheduled webinars from March 14th through the fourth Tuesday of December. So let's say a person can't make it for the 14th, but they can make it for March the 28th. You can then click on March 28th, which will change the screen here. They can then register for that. Again, first name, last name, email address, and confirming their email address, and then they can hit the register, and they'll then be registered for that event. So if you're talking to an individual who wants to attend, but they can't make it on the 14th because they've got a prior engagement, you can see if the fourth Tuesday of March works for them, or does the second Tuesday of April work for them, or the fourth Tuesday of April. You can find a Tuesday night that works for them, and you can then have them register for that event. And that gives you flexibility so that if a person can't do one night, that second Tuesday, you can always offer them another alternative Tuesday for one of these that are scheduled. Now, once they register for the event, they're going to get a series of emails. They'll get an email confirmation that they've registered for the event. Then they'll get reminder emails that will be sent to them 1 week before the event, 1 day before the event, and 1 hour before the event. We want to use, again, a registration process so that we can send reminders out to people that they have registered for this, and it's all automated. If they attend, then 1 day after the event, they'll get a thank you email. And if they registered for the event and they didn't attend, then they'll get a sorry you couldn't attend email 1 day after for those that registered but didn't attend. Now, in this PDF that I've created for you, we have already recorded a live nitric oxide therapy webinar. And we recorded it for 2 reasons. One, is for you to actually see and hear the material for this event, because it's really important for you to feel comfortable with the content of this live webinar so that you've got confidence in inviting your guests to attend. The second reason why we did that is the recording will allow you to do one-on-one presentations anytime. People's schedules are not always going to allow them to attend a live event, especially since it's going to be the second and fourth Tuesdays of every month at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Maybe they already have a previous commitment with church or some other some other thing that they're involved in, and they just can't make Tuesday nights. Well, then you can always do a one-on-one presentation by sharing the YouTube video that hosts a recording of one of these live events. Now, for those that are on today's webinar, I know there's several of you that attended this last Tuesday's kickoff for this. Would you mind unmuting yourself and maybe sharing your thoughts and feelings about what you saw and heard for that event?
Yeah, Dan, this is Homer. I was on the event, and it was a great job. I didn't quite have any people invited because we had 2 separate events before that in that week. But your presentation was spot on, and I really do love it. But I do have a question on how soon does somebody have to be registered before they can get onto the webinar?
They can most likely join even at the time that the webinar starts. I don't know that completely, but definitely you can get them registered all the way up until the event starts. And I would still assume that they could log into the event, even register while the event's going on. I'm not positive about that one, but you can certainly get people registered to the event up to like a minute before it starts.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. And the presentation was spot on. I loved it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Anyone else have any thoughts or input on the actual event that you saw and heard last Tuesday?
Dan,
are you hearing me?
We're going to let ladies go first.
this is Tracy. I do appreciate your magnificent way of putting everything together and making it easy for everybody to understand. With the Zoom platform, I've used it before, and even today I was like 3 minutes late. So I was able to get on with no problem. As long as they have that Zoom link, they should be able to get in even a couple of minutes late, if that is the question.
Yeah, two things to that, Tracy. In Homer's question, because the webinar, the Tuesday night thing is going to be run as a webinar, they have to register, and then what they do is they get their own unique link into the webinar.
Okay.
So two things. One, they could register up to the time that the actual webinar starts. Now, they'll get generated then a link, and then what you just talked about, as long as they've got their link, they can join that webinar even after it started.
Yes.
Great, thank you. I think I heard Timothy.
Yes, sir. The webinar that you presented last time around was one of the better ones because it had everything shifted right in its correct place. I hope others appreciate the work you're doing, but the webinar was spot on. Thank you.
Thank you, Timothy. Anyone else, any comments before I move on in today's presentation?
Hello, Dan. It's Donald. I'd like to join the others in expressing how good I thought the webinar is or was. I listened to it on my smartphone because my computer was down, but it was very good. In looking now, when I got my computer back up, and I got your email, I did an early install of Zoom, and this morning I had no problems. But I can see also that you can invite on the bottom people now as we speak, as late as now, so you can click on that invite and send the link to someone if you happen to meet someone late. So this seems to be an excellent platform. I like it.
Yes, I've gone to Zoom for a couple reasons, and one of that is it's going to give us greater functionality as we go forward. Now, I'm still learning the Zoom, but as you can see, everyone can see my screen just like you saw in GoToMeeting, and I can record this just like I've recorded in GoToMeeting. The recording comes to my laptop. It creates an MP4 file that allows me to then put it in my Camtasia program, do whatever editing that I need to do, and then host it up on YouTube as a training video. So there's so much functionality that we can do in Zoom, like you just talked about. You're in the presentation. You think the presentation would be helpful to other people that maybe you've already talked to that said that they're going to be on it, but you don't see them on the screen. Whatever it might be, you can send invitations while the presentation's going on. I know that applies to what we're on right now because we're on a meeting platform as opposed to a webinar platform, and we'll just have to see if those same functionalities are available on the webinar platform. But there's a lot of things that I can do in Zoom that I could not do in GoToMeeting. Anyone else want to share a comment before we move on?
Dan, this is Tammy. I was on the Tuesday webinar, and it's a very good educational tool. And I really do think that we could reach a lot of people with this, especially knowing that the nitric oxide therapy will be available the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of the month. And then microbiome, I believe starting on the 18th of April, is going to be the 1st and the 3rd. So we all know when these are going to be taking place. And we could definitely invite these people to attend the webinars, and we could send those links to those people.
Yes. So two things to what Tammy's talking about, and it's going to move me into the next part of my presentation, I think. But the aspect is once April happens, I think it's April the 18th. Let me look at my schedule. Yes, that's the third Tuesday of April. We'll do the first microbiome live webinar. And then going into, going into May, then the first and third Tuesdays will always be the live microbiome webinar, and the second and fourth Tuesdays will always be the live nitric oxide therapy webinar. And those are your two marketing strategies or tracks that you're going to run down. You're either going to primarily focus on cardiovascular health, nitric oxide therapy to address cardiovascular concerns, or you're going to focus on microbiome research to address gut health. And now you'll have these live platforms, plus you'll have a ebook, a PDF ebook that supports your marketing strategy. So everything is now dependent upon you to market. And you've got the tools and resources to know that you're going to be supported in your marketing efforts. You'll have a PDF ebook. We already have that created for nitric oxide therapy. And we have a webinar now created for nitric oxide therapy, and I'm going to show you a social media strategy that you can deploy and implement. And again, I can't give you all the answers, but I'm going to show you the way, and then it's just a matter of you understanding how to adapt that to continue your process of creating consistency in your messaging, and then inviting people to either get your PDF, in this case, either branded if you're in our Synergy family, or the generic version, or attend the live webinar, or if they can't attend the live webinar, you've got the recording of the live webinar. The resource tools, we're putting them into your hands. Now it's your responsibility to market. And we just want to show you how to do that effectively. Anyone else before I move on to this next section? Okay, let's just go ahead and move on. All right, so the branding. Branding is something that I learned about 5 years ago that has served me well in helping me to create my customer base. And all your social media marketing should center on two primary themes: the Million Lives Project and nitric oxide therapy. And we suggest this for two reasons. First, by using the Million Lives Project, you'll be sharing a mission statement that will be attractive to others who have a passion for healthy living and want to help others enjoy better health. And the mission statement for the Million Lives Project is this: helping 1 million people or more understand how nitric oxide therapy can naturally address most cardiovascular health concerns. We'll adapt that to the microbiome, and we'll have a separate presentation for this. But if you're going to go down promoting nitric oxide therapy, then that's the relationship of the Million Lives Project. And when you talk in terms of nitric oxide therapy, you're going to be able to share more detailed information without getting yourself or Synergy Worldwide in trouble. And that's how it's designed. You can say a whole lot more about nitric oxide therapy than what you can about ProAction Plus. So you talk in terms of nitric oxide therapy, and then what you do is you say, well, the product of choice, the one that we use to harness this nitric oxide therapy, our product of choice is ProAction Plus, and here's why. It's been listed in the physician's desk reference for 3 years straight, so it's recognized by the medical community. It's the only L-arginine supplement that is actually clinically proven. And their quality assurance steps, there's 262, so they actually guarantee product results. And if you don't see the results that you're looking for, you have a 120-day money-back guarantee that you can return your initial purchase for a full refund on the cost of the product. So always talk in terms of nitric oxide therapy. How do I do this? Well, this is our product of choice. Here's the reasons why we're using this product. When would you like to get started? Now, in the PDF, this is the image that we use for the Million Lives Project. And all you have to do in your PDF is click on your PDF image. And then once you click on it, if you just you'll right click, you can copy the image. You can then paste that or store that in your computer. So you can set up on your computer a folder for nitric oxide therapy images, and you can then store them in there so that when you're doing social media posting and you're on Facebook and Facebook wants you to load the image, you can then open up your computer through Facebook, go to your folder for nitric oxide therapy images, locate the Million Lives Project image, and you can then upload that to your Facebook account. Now, here's a statement that you can adapt for social media. Hi, everyone. I want to let you know that I've decided to become a part of the Million Lives Project. Their goal is to get into the hands of 1 million people or more information on how nitric oxide therapy can naturally address most cardiovascular health challenges. I would like to invite you to their next live webinar on Tuesday, and then fill in the blank, whatever that date is for the next one that's coming at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. Here's the link, and there's the Zoom registration link for this event. Now, I notice I've got some things in the chat box, so let me just see what I've got. Okay, I don't think I have to worry about any of that stuff. Moving on to our presentation this morning. Okay, so here's the social media plan of action. Understand your target market. We're looking to grow North America. I understand that Synergy Worldwide operates in 26 other countries besides the United States and Canada, but we're targeting this process and everything that we're doing for United States and Canada. Now, the use of images will create a whole lot more interest than if you just have a text post. And I use a program called Canva, C-A-N-V-A. It's pretty easy, www.canva.com. It's a free program. There are paid versions of it, but you don't need to do the paid version. I've never done anything on Canva in the paid version. I have just a free program. And then I get my images from bigstockphoto.com. If you take images off the internet, you always run the risk of someone finding that image and then deciding to go and send you a cease and desist notice or actually take you to court for using their image inappropriately. So I go to bigstockphoto.com. I buy 25 credits for $50. They give me royalty-free images that I can use however I want. I use the smallest image size, so it costs me $2 per image. And then I'll use that image, and as you can see here are two examples. I took those images, I then loaded the image into Canva, and then I added the text to it. So in this image here on the left, where you see the hand with the partly oval circle in red, the only thing in that was the sky background with the clouds and heart disease, the hand with the marker and the red. I added still the #1 killer in the Canva program, and I added a tender upcoming live webinar on how nitric oxide therapy can reduce your risk. For the one on the right, the image came from Big Stock, and then what I did is I sized it, and in Canva, they actually have a template for Facebook posts. So I put the image in the template, and then at the top of it, I got this information off of the American Heart Association's website. 735,000 Americans will have heart attacks each year. And then I added in big red, will you be next? And when I used those images, I got quite a few people who liked it and shared it. Well over 150 on each of those images, as opposed to just having some type of text. Now, as we go in this presentation, you need to be consistency in your posting. Now, there are different types of posts that you can put up based upon what you want to promote. And understand this process that if you're going to market the nitric oxide therapy live webinars, anything that's before the webinar is what we call pre-event posts that are designed to create interest. Then there are posts that you'll put up on the day of the webinar to remind and encourage people to attend. And then there are post-event posts that after the webinar has occurred, then you want to help people realize that they missed something special. And you want to do it in a positive way, not a negative way. And so in the PDF that I've created for you, I'm going to give you some examples of pre-event posts, day of posts, and post-event posts. Understand that I can't give you all the posts you need to do. But the following image that you see on your screen will help you to understand that there's a consistency in the pattern of how you post. And I can tell you that your consistency is key to your marketing strategy. That if you just post one thing every 2 weeks, do not expect to grow your Synergy business. You need to be posting relevant information every day, at least Monday through Friday. My suggestion to you is at least twice per day, so you have a minimum of 10 posts per week. And the best way of doing this is to decide on a weekly theme. Maybe you want to highlight high blood pressure, or you want to highlight diabetes for that week, or cognitive function, whatever it might be as it relates to some cardiovascular health issue. And I can't speak for you. I can only speak for myself. If I try to do this posting twice a day on Monday morning or sometime Monday, it just doesn't work. I get so many interruptions and so many things that are going on that I can't do it. So what I've learned for myself is that I have to take 1 or 2 hours over the weekend on a Saturday or a Sunday and lay out my content for the next week. What exactly am I going to do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all leading to the event on Tuesday, so that the following week or weekend I'll lay out my posting for Monday and Tuesday going into the event. And that way, if I do it on the weekend, then all I have to do is in the morning, I can open up my my Word document and I can copy and paste that. Or if you're smart enough to figure out Hootsuite, you can always use Hootsuite, which has a free version that you can use that allows you to connect to 3 platforms, and then you can schedule these posts in Hootsuite. You can actually create the posts in Hootsuite, schedule them in Hootsuite, and then Hootsuite will automatically put them onto those social media avenues or platforms that you have: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever you want. They have a free version that allows you for 3 social media platforms for posting on. But again, it's a discipline. If you discipline yourself to do these things, and the reason why I do it in an hour or 2 hours is because I'm thinking how I want to build one post to the next post, to the next post, to the next post, to have a consistent message and bring them to a call to action so that I can get greater response and activity of what I'm doing. Plus, if I'm sharing good content material through images, call to actions, or images with an inspirational quote, or a great resource, or videos, or testimonials, or blog articles that I found, then I'm giving people good content. And I can tell what are good posts by the number of people that are reached, as well as the number of people who are actually sharing that. And remember, when they share it from their time stream, they're sharing it with their community that you don't have access to. So the more effort that you put in to creating this consistency in posting with good content material, the greater that you're going to get people to follow you, like you, follow you, retweet, or in this case, repost or share your post with other people on their time stream. That allows you to increase your influence of other people seeing what you're doing. Now, here are some examples. Well, before I get to the examples, on page 16 of our Synergy Family Business Plan, we have a video and a PDF that's entitled Engaging Posts on Facebook. It's 60 minutes long for the video, You can find it at the following address. Again, this will be in the PDF, but again, you can write this down, oursynergyfamily.com/business plan. It's that simple. oursynergyfamily.com/business plan. That will take you to a PDF that hosts our Synergy Family Business Plan. We have it on a platform because as we update the business plan, then it's automatically updated on this URL link. That way I don't have to send the PDF out to anyone. You can always go to this link and I'll always be updating. So I'm going to be recording today's presentation. I'll then render it into a YouTube video. I'll then take this PDF that you're seeing this morning. I'll take the video that corresponds with this information. I'll host that onto our Synergy Family Business Plan in the appendix section, which is the last part of the plan. And then you'll have access to this all the time. Plus, as you bring new distributors into Synergy Worldwide, there is the business plan to help them understand how to effectively market. And if they want to go down this road of using the Nitric Oxide Therapy eBook and the live Nitric Oxide Therapy webinars and the recorded version of the live Nitric Oxide Therapy webinar, everything is right there at your fingertips where you can take them into the family business plan and you can then have them scroll down to the appendix, find the right section of the appendix where this is hosted. They can then watch the video and they have access to the PDF. The actual video, this is the link for it, and then there is a slide presentation that went with that, and this is the link to the actual slide presentation because we give you some dialogue of some things to say on a social media platform, and that way you have the actual PDF where you can open the PDF, go to the slide, and then you can copy and paste the information and then adapt it for yourself. Now, in finding information, understand that Google, Bing, and Yahoo are your friend. Now, they might not be your friend in terms of some things that they provide for you, but when you're doing searching for information to create good Facebook posts, Google, Bing, and Yahoo, you can do a lot to find relevant material. So here's some examples that I want to give you, and understand that I can't give you all the information. I can show you what I do, and then you can learn to adapt this information for who you are. Plus, every week, it's your job to find good information and understand the process of adapting it. Now, I'm tying this post. These are what I call pre-event posts. Wow. There sure have been a lot of celebrities like Bob Harper of The Biggest Loser fame having heart attacks. Bob blamed his on genetics. Maybe he needs to learn about nitric oxide therapy and how it can naturally protect you from heart attacks. And then I tie that to this image. Attention men and women. Heart disease, still the #1 killer. Attend our upcoming live webinar on how nitric oxide therapy can reduce your risk. Here's another example. I did a Google search for women and heart attacks, and I came across this article that was on, I think it's on Fox. I can't remember where I got it from. Yeah, Fox News. So here's my thing. I just saw this article on more young women are getting heart attacks. Here's why. Just 37, and she's not alone. Unfortunately, no mention on how nitric oxide therapy could be beneficial to her and other women. And so I copied the link, and this is what happens. If you take this and you copy and paste this into your Facebook to create a post, as soon as that is copied into your Facebook and Facebook recognizes the URL address, they'll actually pull up an image for you. And here's the image that would be pulled up. So you don't necessarily have to create an image for this one. If you've got a link to a good blog article or a good article on something like Fox News or Yahoo Health or something, or Bing, I know Bing has a health section, they'll, once you post that link, then typically you'll see a nice image comes up, because these are professional organizations that understand how to put an attractive picture at the front of their article, which then helps you to create interest because they see the information, but what catches their eye is the actual image. And if the image is eye-catching, then they'll go back and read the information. Now, here's another one that I did. Be a part of the Million Lives project by first attending one of our live nitric oxide therapy webinars. This way you can see for yourself how this miracle molecule can save lives. Here's the link to the next live event. And again, there's the link that you have. This link to the live event is always the same. What I showed you earlier, the submission page for it always is the same. This link always goes to that page, and then the first webinar that they see is the next webinar coming up. If they can't attend that, they can always hit the drop-down menu and then register for a Tuesday night that they can attend. Here's another example of a post. Does nitric oxide therapy work? You know, Carol, we talked earlier with regards to asking questions. Questions are always a great way of starting a conversation because it requires a person to think. And when you ask a question, the mind demands an answer. Does nitric oxide therapy work? Did for Sherry. Took her high blood pressure from 160/90 to 112/68, and it's been consistently at 112/68 for the last 8 years. And then I would use that image. If you want to use that image, again, what do? You click on the image, right-click, copy image. Now I've got one for Donald. Meet my friend Donald Clark. He had PAD, which created severe leg pain anytime he tried to walk. His doctor recommended nitric oxide therapy as a natural way to address his health challenge. Donald followed the advice of his doctor, and at his last ABI test, his doctor commented that Donald, quote, had the arteries of a 29-year-old, end of quote. Pretty remarkable when you consider that Donald is in his late 60s. Learn more about nitric oxide therapy at our next live event. Here's the link. Another example of a post, what I call a pre-post before the event. I lost my dad to a heart attack at age 67. I wish I knew back then what I know today about nitric oxide therapy. My daughter Sarah was 3 at the time. I firmly believe he would have seen her graduate from high school if he had been able to apply this Nobel Prize winning information. How many of you have lost a loved one due to a heart attack? And I don't know if I have the right version of do there, but if I don't, then I'll know that all the English teachers that are watching and looking and reading my post, I'll get a message from them. So I don't worry about whether I've got it spelled correctly. The next one that I put up here is don't become a statistic. Oops. Nitric oxide therapy lowers the risk for a heart attack in 3 specific ways. Learn how at the next nitric oxide therapy live event. Here's the link to register. According to Go Red for Women, heart attacks occur when the flow of blood to the heart is blocked by a buildup of plaque in coronary arteries. That's in quote. I took that exactly off of the Go Red for Women website. Guess what? If women knew how to harness the power of nitric oxide therapy, then they could naturally prevent this. Tomorrow, I'll share with you a link to the Million Lives Project's next webinar on nitric oxide therapy. Now, I don't have an image over here because, again, if I copy and paste this as it is, and I put this into Facebook, then what will happen is as soon as Facebook reads this URL link, there's a very nice, attractive picture that comes up. So I just, because of time, I didn't want to continue to do what I was doing on the right-hand side. Attention, all my women friends. If you read the article for the post I highlighted from Go Red to Women, you know that heart disease and cardiovascular disease, heart attacks and cardiovascular disease are the #1 killer. Here's the link to the nitric oxide therapy webinar. This Nobel Prize winning information will help you naturally reduce this risk. Please click on the link and register for this live event. So those are examples of pre-event posts. Now, here's an example of something that I might do the day of. Tonight's the night. Learn how to naturally address high blood pressure concerns with nitric oxide therapy. Please register using this link. And what I did is I went in and I created an image. I found this image, and it's good to find images that create diversity, because I'm sure that your friends on Facebook and the people that you're communicating with, there's a diversity of people that are out there. So you want to find images that create diversity of people. And I like this image. It's African American or Black American or Black, however you want to define the population group. But the important thing is, for African Americans or Black Americans, high blood pressure is a greater risk factor than what it is in the white Caucasian community. And here's a great one for high blood pressure with a thumbs up. Discover the power of nitric oxide therapy to naturally address your blood pressure concerns. Now, you could use that as a pre-event post. Again, all I'm doing is I'm sharing you examples, and your creativity will help you understand how to plan out your posting strategy. Well, here's another one for day of. We start in just 1 hour. Join the live webinar and learn how nitric oxide therapy can be a natural way to address most cardiovascular health concerns like high blood pressure, diabetic complications, cognitive function, poor wound healing, and sexual health issues like ED. Please register using this link. So homers, you could send this out an hour or two before the actual event, because again, on Facebook, maybe people don't read their Facebook posts. Maybe they read them in the morning, and then when they come home from work, they look at their Facebook account again. Some people are on Facebook all the time. So again, having different times that you post this information, you'll capture and get the attention of different times for different audiences. And then here's some post events. What a fantastic event. If you missed it, then you'll want to join us for the next live webinar. One of the items they offered to all the event participants is their nitric oxide therapy ebook. If you attended and you want it, then DM me. I'm assuming that, at least for me, means direct message on Facebook. DM me and I'll send you the PDF link to this ebook. Again, you can capture the image.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead. So you can capture the image by clicking on it, right-click for copy image, and you can post that image into your Facebook post, and that way they can see it. They can be reminded if they were on the event, because we promote that if people attend the event and they want this book, contact the person who invited them to the event, and you can use it as a post-event follow-up. And I wouldn't give the link to this in your post. I would ask them to DM you, direct message you, so that you can create a dialogue with them. And then in that dialogue, in your direct message back to them, you would then share the link back to them, because you now have a person that is completely interested, and you can do a follow-up with them, either direct messaging them back and forth, or if you know them personally and you've got their phone number, you can talk to them, however. But your job is now to use these tools and resources to create the interest to be able to use these tools. Here's another one that I did for you. If you missed the live nitric oxide therapy webinar, then please register for the next event. Why? Because of the powerful testimonials they shared, like Donald Clark, who had severe PAD. Through nitric oxide therapy, he now has, according to his doctor, quote, the arteries of a 29-year-old. Guess what? Donald is in his 60s. This is powerful. Here's the link to the next event. So again, you use something that you either gained or you heard a testimonial. Make sure that what you share is accurate. And then you could use that to let people know that, man, you missed something important. Here's something that I learned. You need to be on this next one. Here's the link to the next event, because now after the event, when they go to this link, it's going to show the next event. So you can start in your post-event strategy, you can start preparing people for the next event. Everything is about preparing people for the next event, reminding them, posting on the day of the event, and then your post-event posts are all designed to help them feel in a positive way that they missed something special, and giving them the opportunity to join you for the next one. And then your strategy leading up to that might be focusing on diabetics, because in the actual presentation, we talk about David Munoz, his mother Marta, his father, and what nitric oxide therapy did for his father, because his mom Marta died in 1992, if I remember correctly, well before this information came out about nitric oxide therapy. His dad headed down the same pathway. Now, applying nitric oxide therapy had amazing changes in his diabetic health and regained a vitality for living, as opposed to ending up like his wife Marta. So again, there's a lot of powerful information, and you could then use diabetic complications as your focus for the next week's strategy of attracting people, because there's a lot of people that have diabetic disease, and the difference between a high blood pressure person and a diabetic is if a high blood pressure person's not on medication, they most likely don't necessarily feel the symptoms. They can, but not necessarily. That's why it's called the silent killer. If they're on medication, then they're most likely experiencing side effects from medication. But for a diabetic, they're always experiencing some issue to their diabetes. They're either having to monitor their blood sugar, or they're having diabetic complications. And so for a diabetic, the things that they feel are much more real and personal on a daily basis than maybe for high blood pressure. And again, your job is to research for good information that you can then tie to nitric oxide therapy. You know, you could find an article, 7 ways to help diabetics. And then you could read that, pick out a key phrase or something and say I just found this great post on 7 ways to help a diabetic control their blood sugar. Excellent information. Unfortunately, no one ever talks about nitric oxide therapy as a natural way to help a person with diabetes be able to naturally address their cardiovascular health concerns. You need to be on this next nitric oxide therapy live webinar to understand how this Nobel Prize winning information can directly help you as a diabetic and the complications you're experiencing. Now, I just said that off the top of my head. I have no written script for it. And what I would do is I would then write that as a script, and then I would then go back and read it out loud to make sure that it sounded conversational when I went to post it. And if it doesn't sound like I'm having a conversation with a person, then I got to tweak my words, change it, the order, whatever I need to do to make it sound conversational. And then I would put that in my strategy for the next week with a link to the event, or maybe a link to the article. And then I would do something like, tomorrow or later today, I'll give you the link to the next nitric oxide therapy live event. And then I would have a link to the actual article, which will give me an image, and then I can do a post. Hey, earlier today I gave you this article on diabetic complications. I told you how nitric oxide therapy could naturally address these issues. No one ever speaks of it. You need to hear this information. Here's the link to the next webinar. And then you have the link to the Zoom webinar. Again, if you take the time to lay out your strategy will be much more congruent and effective in creating the interest of people wanting to know this information. Now, the last thing that's in the PDF is here's the generic version of our nitric oxide therapy ebook. It's hosted up on ClickFunnels. And again, what I'll do is, I think I can do this. I hope I can do this. There we go. All right, I'm going to go into, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, share screen. Share screen. Okay, everyone should see my screen again. Pushed the wrong thing. Okay, I'm going into the chat. Well, it did the same thing. Hopefully, all you can do, you can take that link. Everyone should have gotten the link for the PDF. You can copy it and paste it. You can try on your own computer to click on it and see if it actually opens. And that's the one. Yep, doesn't do it. So just copy it and paste it. Make sure that when you paste it, you've got to add a space after the end of the PDF. After that F, you've got to add a space to make that whole link live. Any questions from anyone on this morning in our presentation?
Dan, I just have a comment.
Yes.
I think this is fantastic, and the reason I do is I think sometimes, at least for me, I think that I have to spend a whole lot of time each day, doing this, and you get busy with your lives and other things. What I see here is concise, so that I can spend a couple of hours and get this all set up, and then get on with my day, so that I'm more effective in the way I live my life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. At least I found that to be my experience too, Carol.
Yeah, I really appreciate this because my mind's just been on overload since we started this, and so I can see where I can do this and be more effective.
Yeah. Yeah, so your strategy is, set aside an hour, 2 hours every weekend. It could be, okay, I get up an hour earlier on Saturday morning, and I go in and I lay out my strategy for the next week on Facebook, and I create all my posts and get the images that I want. And if I'm linking to a blog article or an article from a major news organization, I can always test it. I can write it. I can copy it and paste it into Facebook, and not post it, but I can create a post and then just see what it looks like, because it's going to show you what it looks like, and then I can just opt out where I don't save it on Facebook. That excuse me. That way you can see exactly what it looks like. But take that hour or 2 hours on early Saturday morning, so it doesn't interfere with the rest of your day, and lay out that strategy for yourself and your consistency in doing this, harnessing the live webinar. You don't have anything to do with the live webinar. You're depending upon me to give a good presentation. And when people ask questions in that live webinar, to give them good answers. Your job is to just promote it. And so that tool is there for you. And you don't have to do anything with the Nitric Oxide Therapy ebook. That's already been created. Carol, your comments to me is you really like this book, and you've already started to share it with your organization. And the more that they then get adapted and understand how to harness that PDF in the live webinar in an effective social media platform, communication, just think when we're all doing this, well, people are going to consistently see this, gosh, what is this information about? I'm seeing it from Carol, and now I'm seeing it from this other person. There's something to this. What's going on here? We're going to create the general awareness of nitric oxide therapy on a social media platform that over time, as we add this strategy for ourselves personally, as well as new distributors come in and choose that this is the marketing strategy that they want to go down, we're going to collectively increase the consciousness in North America about nitric oxide therapy. And
I have to agree.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Lots of times when I talk to people, they think that it's going to be so complicated. They don't have the time. They don't know how. And so and part of that strategy you're talking about is keeping it simple, making it something they can do, they can see, takes a little bit of their time. And I think they're more able to opt in and say, yeah, I think I could do that.
Yeah, and then another strategy that you could do, Carol, is if you take the 1 or 2 hours to lay out your weekly strategy for posting on Facebook, then you could create a PDF on your computer, because a PDF, then the images don't move around. You could then send that PDF down through the people who are wanting to do the same thing that you're doing, and you're giving to them what you've created that they can then either use or adapt on their platforms.
Right.
And now it's like, look, do you want to be in business or not? If you do, then there's work involved in it, because this is not what people promote, that you don't have to do anything in network marketing, and we all know that that doesn't work. If you want to grow a business, you got to treat it like a business, which requires your time. It's your job now. I've given you the post. You can adapt them to your voice, or you can use them, but you've got to start posting on your platform.
Right.
And that's going to also tell you who's willing to go to work and who's not, and where you need to spend your time, because you need to spend your time in the people who want to go to work, who want to create a synergy business, and that's going to serve you well. And then you're teaching them to do the same thing that they can then begin to do with the people that they bring into their organization. You share it with them, they share it with their people. As they learn the strategy, they get good at adapting, creating their own posts, and some people will begin to do that on their own, and other people will just copy and paste. That's okay. Now share that with the people in your organization. That's your responsibility to begin to become a leader. If you want to make big money in Synergy Worldwide, you need to learn how to become a leader and show people how they can easily duplicate this process down through their organization.
Right.
Thank you, Carol. Anyone else before we say goodbye? All right.
Hello, Dan.
Yes.
Thanks for resurrecting my interest in sharing on my Facebook, my second Facebook page again. I see where I can really, really implement this stuff.
Sure.
Excellent. Thank you, Donald. Any final comments before we say goodbye for today?
Dan, again, you just knock it out of the ballpark. I just appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
I agree.
Just seeing if there's anything in the chat box I need to respond to. Nope, doesn't look like. Okay, thank you, everyone. I kind of like this Zoom platform. I can actually hear you better than I could on the GoToMeeting platform, and I'll continue to get a little bit better on using this, and we'll be able to do some things that I could not do on the other platforms. Like I can actually, in GoToMeeting, I could share a video with you, but you could never hear it. In the Zoom platform, I can share a video with you, and you can actually hear it. There's a way that can be done. So anyways, there's a lot of useful things. Thank you, everyone. We'll talk to you next Saturday as Judy and I begin to help you understand how to harness the new microbiome Purify Kit as a core way of building your Synergy business and using it to be Elite Honors qualified. I'm going to show you that next week. Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed day. Yes.
One other thing, Dan, are you going to send this to us like on the Thursday, what we looked at today, like you normally do?
No, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to send it out on Monday, and then I'll have a reminder on Friday. And then, because, again, I'm trying to streamline what I'm doing for my organization as well as what we're doing here, because I've chosen to do Saturday trainings rather than Wednesday night for my group and Saturday for everyone. I'm just doing Saturday training now because I need to simplify my life somewhat. So this is going to come out on Monday to everyone, and and then Friday will be a reminder for the Saturday presentation.
Great. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.